All right, BrewSports Baseball. Hey, I'm just going to go over the keeper analysis now. I have a little bit of time this afternoon, so I thought I would jump in and kind of give you an idea of what I'm looking at and what you could be looking at for the upcoming February 27th off-season trading start date. That'll go until keepers are due, usually probably March 12th is my guess at this point. When the keepers are due, I think we put that in the outline as well. All right, so let me show you what I'm looking at when it comes to keeper analysis. You should be seeing my spreadsheet at this point. And we start off, everything's in alphabetical order. I know some of the team names have changed since I actually ran this report, but you get the idea. So we look at Howie's team. Howie had some interesting options. Obviously, Sean Murphy moving to Atlanta could make him a yellow because catchers are tough. Like, you have a gap of about 150 points between the upper tier and the middle tiers. That's a big enough gap to make a dent as far as keepers go. But then if you look at all of Howie's team is really built well for 2023. He has Mike Trout, he has Shane Bieber, Corbin Burns, and Alek Manoah. I don't know how he gets away from those four unless he makes some trades. Now, here's the interesting thing. There are some trade partners out there that do not have four real legit keepers, and he could package one or two of those secondary guys like Jazz Chisholm, Randy Rosarina, Andres Jimenez, or Sean Murphy. He could package those, or he also has 5 rookies, package with a rookie something to get a pick, or even lump in like a Corbin Burns and a Randy Rosarina and get something big out of that. So he's got a lot of options. We'll see how active Howie is at the beginning of the year. We move on to Matt. Matt was our toilet bowl winner. So he gets the first pick, and he's already set as far as keepers goes, in my opinion. He's got Matt Olson, Jose Ramirez, Aaron Nola, and Shane McClanahan, which unfortunately doesn't give him a lot of leverage when he's talking about potentially trading Anthony Rizzo or Christian Javier or Craig Kimbrell, who as a keeper should be a 450 to 500 point keeper. He also has 3 rookies. So he has some moving parts, right? Anthony Rizzo is projected to put up over 400 points, but a lot of that's dependent on this average being around 250 and not where it was last year with the Yankees. So we'll see what happens. It's an interesting work of art. I have 3 for sure keepers in George Springer, Garrett Cole, Robbie Ray. I have a lot of secondary potential keepers in Carlos Correa. Ty France can be part of that conversation as well, since he put up 370 points last year. With Merrifield can be part of that conversation. I mean, Reese Hoskins can be part of that conversation. He's got a lot of conversational pieces, but not a lot of actionable pieces. So we'll see what happens. Right now, he has a big trade chip potentially in Garrett Cole, and he could turn that into 2 keepers, and then the rest of the pieces fall in place. We look at Dana's team. Dana has he has a lot of options. I put a lot of his team in yellow, even though he has already told me essentially who his keepers are. If you look at it on paper, it's Adley Rutschman, Manny Machado, and Brian Reynolds should be the ones that are considered top tier as far as on his team goes. Plus, he has Spencer Steer as a rookie keeper and Jack Leiter as a rookie keeper, but he only has 2, so he could be in the market for a 3rd rookie keeper. But he also has defending National League batting average champion in Jeff McNeil. He has Anthony Santander, who could be a 30-plus home run guy. Doesn't strike out as much as you would think. Dylan Cease, who's obviously had an amazing 2022. Josh Hader, who had 5 horrible outings, but other than that was actually really dominant. Tyler Glasnow coming off injury. George Kirby doesn't walk anybody, and Martin Perez. So he's got a lot of really good options in here. If you see somebody in yellow on Dana's team, don't be afraid to poke around and see what you can get for him. If we switch over to Eric's team, Eric only has 2 keepers. I mean, technically, I guess you could count Chris Bryant, maybe Joe Musgrove as also keepers. But he has 2 big keepers. Rafael Devers is an elite third baseman. Juan Soto, obviously an elite bat, had one of his worst seasons last year. And if 430 fantasy points is his floor, what is his ceiling? Because I feel like last year was his floor year of 430 fantasy points. He's going to walk 40, 50, 60 more times than he strikes out. So you can count on him being extremely consistent. Now, that being said, he doesn't have a lot else to go with. Now, he could do this. And this is what I think, if I was Eric, this is what I would do. I would trade Juan Soto. I would get 2 or 3 keepers for that. Without having to trade anything else, right? So you can add, if you were really big on Chris Bryant, great. add Chris Bryant as your fourth keeper to the two keepers. You also have Gunnar Henderson, who's a favorite to win the American League Rookie of the Year. You have Tristan Cassis, who's coming immediately into a job with the Red Sox, as long as Justin Turner doesn't, take over first base, which I don't think he will. I think he'll primarily be DH based on his fragility. So you have two already ready to go rookies who will be part of the 2023 season. It's a big opportunity for Eric to make a big splash. See what he does. If we look at Lance, so Lance has a bunch of keepers. He has 5 keepers, in my opinion. He's got to get rid of one. If he doesn't, it goes to Matt. Essentially, is my opinion. Unless it's like, he's got Julio Urias is kind of fringy, but if Julio Urias is thrown back, he'll be one of the top 2 picks, and Matt will be grateful for that. Vlad, Alex, Jordan, these guys are guaranteed keepers. And then it's either Julio Urias or Spencer Strider. Spencer Strider's injury at the end of the season, that was a little concerning. The fact that he strikes out 400 people per 9 innings, that is a bonus. And he has no rookies. That's the other thing too. Oh, he does have one rookie. I lied. He has Andrew Painter and James Wood. So he has 2 rookies. So he could also be in the rookie market as well. Next up is Aaron. We have Freddie Freeman. Wander Franco's got to be kept. Kevin Gossman, Ryan Presley is my guess on the 4th one. Otherwise, it's Colton Wong, Cedric Mullins, who's a 30-30 candidate again. Tommy Edman, who is playing for a weird team, Korea. Is he playing for Korea in the WBC? I don't remember, but he's definitely, I didn't expect it. Nestor Cortez is playing for the U.S., even though he was born in Cuba. He has some options besides the big 4 that I think are his keepers. He also has a good stable of rookies. Will Aaron make a move? I don't know. Like, he's not one that's actively aggressive. He's also someone who needs to win trades. So in the preseason, it's okay to lose a trade in order to gain leverage for future consideration. Stephen Dow, he's in a perfect position. He's got 2 great starting pitchers in Sandy Alcantara and Framber Valdez. Valdez should have an incredible year as the ace of the Astros. And then he's got Francisco Lindor and Ronald Acuna. Doesn't need much for Acuna to bounce back and have a great season. Again, 30-30 candidate kind of thing. JT Real Muto is an interesting one. Again, I mentioned in the beginning that gap in catchers and top tier and middle tier. JT Real Muto is obviously that top tier. So it has to be enough value. The other thing is, I think Zach Gallen is a Cy Young candidate in 2023 with the Diamondbacks. He had an amazing 2022. And if he piggybacks off that at all, then he's a 400 plus guy as well. So you have to see, there has to be the value. You have to see the value there for Dow for Steve to make a move with you. But there is an opportunity. There is an opportunity for him to potentially make some trades. Again, you can only take 4 keepers and the 3 rookies with you. So got to do something. Chris's team, as most people know, if you look at the roster, is in trouble. He's got Bo Bichette, who had an incredible September, October, batting over 400, had just absolutely amazing numbers to get himself to 290, which is really impressive because he had a really rough rest of the season. Unfortunately for Chris, he didn't actually get to take advantage of a lot of the fantasy productivity because Chris lost in the first round of the Toilet Bowl, which was the 2nd week of September. He also has Logan Gilbert, who is a 400-point pitcher. He has Jack Flaherty, who was the ace of the Cardinals. He has Mackenzie Gore, who he traded for, potentially in the deal that he made, one of the deals that he made, and Joe Ryan, who is, he doesn't strike out a lot of guys, but he is serviceable as a starting pitcher for Minnesota. Doesn't throw very hard either. He's got issues. Conceptually, the only way he can really fix those issues is if he trades picks or he trades like a Josh Young, who is a rookie who will be eligible for to play right out of the gate. He also has Harry Ford and Noelvi Marte. Noelvi Marte he's an outside chance of winning a job in Cincinnati. He could be another one that he leverages to potentially get a keeper. Merrifield is next. Merrifield has 2 bona fide keepers in Xander Bogaerts and Jacob deGrom. And then outside that, he's got Jose Abreu, probably a keeper. He's higher on the cusp on that fence of keeper versus not keeper. Ketel Marte, he's always in the mix. Especially since this year he'll be primarily and only second base. There won't be a lot of opportunity for him to play the outfield. Luis Roberts got a great bat. He just needs to evolve a little bit. Hunter Green, obviously a big strikeout guy. He just has to control the walks, control the home runs, control the gopher balls. So if he can do those things, then Hunter Green could be part of that as well. Two rookies on his team. Elmer made a lot of moves last year and then kind of set it and forget it with baseball. It's not really his MO. That's not what he does. This is sponsored by Coca-Cola. Need to wet the whistle. Yeah, so it's not really who he is because he's typically one of the more engaged owners. Coming into 2023, though, you could do worse than Nolan Arenado, Nolan Arenado, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Shohei Ohtani. That being said, he has to figure out who his fourth keeper is. Is it Ozzie Albies? Does he make a deal? He also has two rookies that are going to come right in and be starters from the beginning. Francisco Alvarez, more than likely DHs a lot this year. He's got a great bat for a catcher. And Corbin Carroll, whose speed power combination should put him in the conversation for 2020, having a 2020 season. So it comes down to, is Brendan Donovan, who was the rookie of the year last year for the National League, or second, or it was top three anyway. Is Brendan Donovan or Ozzie Albies the answer for him for number 4, or does he make a move? Does he make moves to put himself in a better position? And I guess on the outside, you have Chris Sale. I would hope that he's not thinking of keeping Chris Sale. Scott has 3 bona fide keepers as well. 4 if you count Will Smith. I have a hard time keeping catchers this year because there are 7 catchers that are 300 points or better, in my opinion. We'll come up with one here in a second because I think it's kind of a travesty where they've got Alejandro Kurt projected at 199. That's not true. That dude mashed last year. He's a good hitter. Blue Jays will want to put him in the lineup. Anyway, I'll get to that in a second. Paul Goldschmidt, Marcus Semien, Max Scherzer. Those are the definite keepers. There are some fringy guys like Clayton Kershaw. I mean, is he really a 430-point guy? I don't think so. He's always injured. Only gets to, I love how they've got him projected at 30 starts, but Johnny Cueto is 26 and that dude never misses starts. Kershaw at 30 starts. He's never going to get there. 25, 26 is where he caps out, which puts him in the 350 point range, but maybe Scott likes him enough to keep him. I think he actually goes, if he doesn't make any deals, he goes with Scherzer, Goldschmidt, Semien, and Will Smith. He also has Grayson Rodriguez, who coming into the season should be in the rotation to start. The problem, by the way, that's Mason wanted to make sure that I had that right. Salvador Perez is, again, one of those 300-point guys, catcher. Like it's one of the 7. Corey Seager, Mookie Betts, Justin Verlander, Edwin Diaz. Those are my projected keepers for Mason. He also has some other value in Austin Riley. See if Austin Riley can continue to progress. Max Fried continue to progress. See what happens there. He has a couple of good rookies, but they're a little bit away still. Ryan, I don't know. Ryan's interesting. Like he's all about offense. So I don't know if he keeps Yu Darvish and Zach Wheeler. He'll definitely keep Jose Altuve and Aaron Judge. If anything, I'm sure he wants to keep Bobby Witt. It makes sense to want to keep Bobby Witt, especially since he's eligible at third base and shortstop coming into 2023. But that means he's going to have to trade Yu Darvish or Zach Wheeler, in my opinion. So we'll see. I put down Trevor Bauer as yellow just so that I can pick on Ryan. Ryan won the ship last year, but he did it with a wasted roster spot. So if he wasted that roster spot, is he going to keep Trevor Bauer? Trevor Bauer clearly is not on a team right now. But does he keep Trevor Bauer? Like he wasted a spot all year just to do what? Brady is the team to trade with. Sorry, Brady. I know you're going to hate this. But you are the team to trade with because you have 6 bona fide keepers, in my opinion. Obviously, Bryce Harper is hard to stay away from keeping him, especially with his injury situation. That being said, Trey Turner, Julio Rodriguez, Luis Castillo, and Carlos Rodon is who I expect him to keep. Michael Harris Jr., or the 3rd, or whatever number he is, should be considered as well. In addition, he has Kyle Wright, the 20-game winner from last year, who put up really stellar numbers, especially in a win-loss situation. So he's got really good people to potentially trade from a keeper standpoint. The question is, will Brady engage in those conversations? And finally, we have Andrew. Andrew's the new guy. I mentioned Alejandro Kirk. Alejandro Kirk put up over 300 fantasy points last year as a catcher. I imagine he'll do the same again this year. He's not a big strikeout guy. He actually walks quite a bit. So I anticipate seeing those numbers similar. That being said, Pete Alonso, Kyle Tucker, Starling Marte, and likely somebody else that he's going to trade for. He doesn't have a lot to go off of. He has Jason Dominguez, but there's no Yankees fans, and Andrew's actually a Yankee fan, so I have a sneaking suspicion that he won't get rid of him. I guess another outside option would be Dansby Swanson. That's a really far outside, or Taylor Ward could be far outside. I just don't see it. I have a hard time wrapping my head against about Jose Urquidy. He had a rough year as far as length of games go. Mitch Keller, same deal. So he doesn't have a lot. Maybe he keeps Camilo Doval, who's a hard throwing strikeout style closer for the Giants. And the Giants should be in a lot of close games. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But he has picks, and he could trade those picks during off-season trading. All right, that is your keeper updates as of right now. Nobody has submitted keepers. Obviously, you're not encouraged to submit keepers until March 11th and 12th. So the closer we get to the deadline, once you feel like your team is 100% set. What I would do, though, is you should update your on the block. If you update your on the block, then everybody has a better idea what they're looking for. You're still 17 days away from being able to execute any trades, but that doesn't mean you can't talk to them. Most of you have probably talked to me about what trades might be going to be. All right, have a good one. Talk to you later.